On the back side of this engine, I am just prepping the flywheel bolt holes. Yeah, that's right, flywheel bolt hole. Say that 5 times fast. Flywheel bolt hole. I am prepping this heavy flywheel and the bolts that go through it to be put on for the hopefully first and last time. I have the bell housing cover already installed. I have used my thread chaser to clean out all of these holes in here. It's a really awesome tool. Make sure that you're not leaving any old thread sealant in there. And I've run that through with my little impact driver real quick, like so. Our new bolts with thread lock already applied. So the last thing is, this flex plate is not only very heavy, but these bolt holes are not even. There's a certain way they go on. And so you're gonna watch me fiddle around with that for a couple of minutes. Yeah, it definitely only goes on one way, because if I spin it to the next set of holes, she don't line up. And that would make sense because this thing is counterbalanced and you want it to go on one way. Right here we have a brand new pilot bearing. Hopefully it works. Wasn't cheap. Compare it to our transmission. Feels good. I just need to clean this surface off and lightly tap that guy into place. Okay, we're torquing to spec, 85 foot-pounds. So I pulled the hardware back out. I wanted to show you, we have 2 different types. This is the bolt that holds a flex plate on for an automatic transmission, and the bolt that holds the flywheel on is much smaller. If you zoom in here, take a look, you'll see the head of that bolt is really, really shallow in comparison to this one. Almost half the thickness. Now, the important reason behind having the right thickness of those bolts is that this clutch disc, if you look at it, the springs sit up a little bit. And if you use the bolt that is intended for a flex plate, when you mount this clutch disc on, it interferes with the heads of the bolts. It will interfere with the heads of the bolts. These bolts will literally be sticking in, and you'll hit them. You'll hear them scraping and rubbing. So use the right bolts. One last thing to take note of, you definitely want to clean this mating surface with brake clean before you install it, because it usually comes with a protective coating on it, a film that you need to clean off. And if you don't, your clutch might slip really bad or get impregnated with all the oils that this has.
You don't want to be getting impregnated.
I hope not. We splurged and we got pressure plate bolts from AARP. So we good.
That's the same place I got my retirement plan.
I know it's a APR, annual percentage yield. You guys out there getting all grumpy, I'm saying it wrong. I know it's APR, not AARP. Made sure I got my alignment tool in, so the clutch is lining up nice and good. I kind of wiggle it up and down a bit. Then I'll start seating these down little by little, kind of rocking them into place. Now that we've got everything on the back end taken care of, it's time to start taking care of some of this stuff on the front side. One of the things we got to do for the front is install this barb right here. Yeah, some dingus who put this whole thing together, put this whole cool alternator, you know, serpentine belt system on, put the water pump on. They used some funky clear RTV on it, and they forgot to put that in right there. You see that? That hole right there? Yeah. This whole thing goes in there, and then a hose would connect the 2 ends together. Like that. So this all has to come off in order to put this one stupid little piece on. Ooh! Don't lose those spacers. Oh boy. Smells like old head bolts. Mmm, yummy. Too small. Oh, there we go. It's like they put household grade silicone. What the heck is this? This is like clear silicone that they use for like sealing a toilet or a bathtub. Some dingus, man. Here's our heater hose pipe. And there's the hole it goes into, and boy, it is a tight fit. I do not know if that's gonna go. But I'd rather have it be too tight than too loose.
That is what.
Yep. Not even close. Barbs are hard to find. Or I could take this one that was on the old car. Oh, yeah, that goes in. Go put some right stuff right now on our remanufactured nipple. It's gonna go in there like that. I'm gonna hammer it. And it's got a shoulder on it, if you look, so that it will seal. That shouldn't go anywhere. There you have it, resurfaced, ready to go. Now, I am going to just use gasket maker on this because it works. Got the good stuff here, GL4, Stabilube 8590. Yeah, this stuff is not cheap. And it's usually what's required in older transmissions because of the brass synchros or something like that, bronze, I don't know, something. But I just want to show you guys, this is oddly satisfying for me to pour it in this way. Oh yeah, look at that. Like, I don't know why I like doing that so much. Oh. Pretty much on the money. Right here we got our shift machine, and I've done a couple of things to it to make it work a lot better than what it came with. So from the factory, these 4-speed top loaders that came in big block Fords, they usually had mechanical shift linkage. And that's no bueno. It's really hard to get that stuff adjusted just right, even when you have it in a factory application. Now, in order to combat that, I bought this guy right here. This is from American Powertrain, and it is an awesome kit. What this American Powertrain hydraulic clutch kit comes with is everything you need, right there, everything you need to run a hydraulic clutch on most any car. Now this one's specific for our Ford 4-speed top loader, and it has an 1/1/16 inch input shaft, so it's made specifically for that. It also comes with our master cylinder that is adjustable, that you bolt up to the firewall. Not only a direct mount cylinder, but also little adapters to mount it somewhere else via hoses. So the most important part of the kit is this guy right here. This is our hydraulic slave cylinder for the clutch. I have found out that these are the shims I need to get this system to work perfectly inside of our transmission. Now here's the slave cylinder going on. It'll end up sneaking through where the release fork used to be, and easy peasy. We got this hose right here. This will go in and attach. This is our bleeder hose. We'd open this little bleed port right here, and we're going to be able to get a clutch system fairly simple on this rig. Now I bolted the transmission up here because I could not for the life of me find reverse, so I needed it to be steady. I've got it clamped in a ton of different spots, and with that I was able to really apply the leverage to get all the way over here and hit reverse right there. We got reverse, and then we also got 1, 2, 3, 4. That's right. Gonna go like whoa, 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 whoa. She gonna scream. So yeah, we should be ready. Oh yeah, and I forgot to say, this came with a aftermarket Hurst shifter that was giving me a ton of grief. I honestly thought that this thing had a broken detent or something to get into reverse. There's it is right there. And honestly what it was is with this thing just sitting around flopping on the ground and me trying to hold it and keep it from moving as I pulled this over, I just didn't have the leverage I needed to get it to reverse. So hallelujah, because I do not want to try and source one of these and make sure it's the right one. And yeah, no thank you. And all these linkages, forget about it. So initially I just had this system kind of put together to make sure everything worked. Now I need to seal this mating surface and install a oil seal in the back side of this. Well, let's get her done. Oh, would you look at that? It's got the fancy Nippon bearings. Fancy Japanese bearings means it's gonna work better. In all honesty though, guys, most of the bearings from Japan are awesome. I forgot to mention, this thing was fully rebuilt inside, not by me. So, cross our fingers, it works good. Man, that would have sucked. I almost forgot my seal from Tim Kid. Oh boy. That would have just oozed all the fluid out right through this hole. Yeah. Make sure you put that on, guys. Don't want to forget that. So, she just goes in like that. Let's go tap her in. And as you know, my go-to jam, right stuff. She's going on the face of this. Now, I'm going up and around these holes right here because they actually go into the gearbox, so I don't want those to leak. I'm going to wipe away some of the excess that's down here. And I've got some assembly goo right there. I'm going to put a little bit of blue thread locker on this upper one. That's what they say to do in the instructions. Don't forget my spacers. And this guy gets twerked to 15 foot-pounds along with the other 3. Like to go in a crisscross pattern if I can help it. And there we go. Okay, so I want to talk a little bit about how this works and their instruction book and how to do this. So the simplified version is the surface of this throwout bearing is a certain length. Inside this transmission there is another length from the fingers to the outside of this surface of the bell housing. You have to get that measurement and the measurement over there that I was showing you. You subtract them from one another and that gets you your clearance. With some math and some Latin and math, we were able to get the correct shims to get this thing to work perfectly. So cross our fingers it actually, you know, works in application, not just in principle. Okay people, so this is the engine pretty much all dressed up in the front. I have done a couple of big important things, which is namely getting the oil filter housing on, getting the new fuel pump from Holley installed, and figuring this whole belt system out. So when we got this car, it didn't come with a serpentine belt, but it had the accessories for the belt. And one of the things I did is one of the tricks I like to do where I take some string and I wrap it around like this. I put a mark on it, and then I will take that and measure my marks. Here you can see my old ones. Got a little black paint there, and another little black dot somewhere along here, like right there. And I will pull this whole thing out, I'll measure it, and that'll give me a measurement. On this case, it was about 42¼ inches. So then what I do is I go to the auto parts store, and I probably make like 20 trips there because it's never the right belt. And I'm always stupid and I only buy one at a time instead of buying like 4 of them. And eventually I come up with one. This one, for instance, is a 42 7/8. And that got us the exact length we needed to get this thing tensioned just right with our tensioner here. One of the biggest things that used to scare me about old school cars was this. Ugh. Oh no! How do I know how it goes again? Oh no, I just spun it when it was out. I always was so petrified, and it never made sense to me, and I always thought it had to be an exact certain way. Well, as a lot of people may know, these distributors can kind of clock in wherever you want. You just need to make sure that your rotor is pointing to the right spot, and you get your firing order on the top of your cap right. So, I have set this motor to TDC, and I am now basically putting this bad boy in here. I want it to clock in about that orientation with the vacuum advance pointing towards the passenger side, but still having enough room to kind of move it side to side. So I've got myself in kind of the general ballpark with this distributor, and I'll get myself the rest of the way once the car is in and we get the cables on and our firing order set. Pretty much, we're ready to stab this thing in. You saw me do all the transmission stuff. It's on. We got this cool dipstick. Show this thing off real quick. Yeah. Here, you do it. Not like that. The whole thing.
The whole thing.
The whole thing. Pull the whole thing out. Sword in the stone. We got this sweet dipstick. This is from Milodone, and it is stainless steel. It doesn't come with any markings on it. Hey, is there oil in that engine? I think there's engine oil in there.
Maybe.
Oh, man. Well, you got to mark it yourself, but it's cool, pretty, nice. It feels super solid. When you bolt it up with this little bracket, oh, man, it's sweet. Want to sword in the stone back in? So that's about it, guys. We're going to take these headers off on this side, and I'm going to get to stabbing this thing in. Put that fancy schmancy dipstick in, and it looked like there was juice on the tip. I'm about to pull this Him Here pluggo because there was some love juice on the dipstick. So I think there might be juice in there, and to be quite honest, I don't think this motor was ever broken in, and it needs to be. So I'm going to drain whatever's in there so that we can put the braking oil in. Oh, there is a fresh amount of oil in there. Wow, that is brand new. I'm probably going to catch that. No clue what that is, if that is braking oil or not, if it's straight 30 weight, if it's 1030, 530, 1530. What I do know is I don't think there was that much, because it looks like we're starting to slow down. And I'm only looking at about 1.5 quarts so far. Maybe they just put some into the bottom of the pan lubricated. Because it's not like you're spinning it. Okay, another day on the Cobra, and I got some fun stuff I'm dealing with, if you could call it that. Let's check it out. Got the good old radiator pressure tester. We made a system for our hoses here. Not too shabby, pretty clean. And down here, there's a couple more connectors, and I'm gonna get different hose clamps to make it look cleaner. But awkward shapes to work with, but gets the job done. What I do have is some fun stuff going on with this water pump that came with the vehicle. So let's pump it up real quick, and I'll show you what we got going on. And we will spray some soapy water on this bad mamma jamma. Oh, it's nice when the coolant system is massive and you have no water in it. Makes this take a really long time. Okay, I'm at about 6 psi. Let's see what we got. And there we go. I already got some bubbles forming right here and right down in there. And if we look at my gauge, I have already dropped like 4 psi since I just did that. So means I'm gonna have to probably swap that water pump out, because I've already tried to get it to sit flat. I've planed it a little bit. I'll show you when I take it off, but let's see what we got right here. What do we have? Oh, somebody knew they needed a new water pump. Yep. There we go. So let's just throw that on there real quick and see what she does afterwards. Okay, gotta take this water pump off. And whammy! There she is. You can even see where those air bubbles were coming out. Right there. There's some of them. And right in there. Okay, there you have it. Let's try and pump it again. Got Homeless Newell in the background making pork chops.
Pork chop. Say it right.
For breakfast. Well, that there is 10 psi. So, start watching.
It's moving.
You guys see all this? All this frustration? Look at that. I promise you guys, I know how to freaking put stuff together so it doesn't leak. This is just pissing me off. Found our problem. That's a 15 thousandths feeler gauge, and both outside edges of the water pump and block mating surfaces are not flat. Water pump's flat. I measured it, so the block is not sitting flat. So, big fat bead of RTV it is. Guys, this Cobra has been kicking my butt, or should I say, biting my butt. Oh my goodness. I have been looking for a coolant leak on this thing for most of the day. We had a bunch of different spots, like I showed you before, that leaked. Got those squared away with the right water pump, the right RTV, and that's all good, but I'm still losing 15 psi in about 5 minutes. So that's a no-go. And I think I found it. Look. Well, you probably can't see that. Now, you probably can't see it, or maybe you can. But down in there, we've got water pooling up. And if you look right here at this blue gasket, there is water right there. If it looks like I'm about to get buck nasty with a bunch of wires, it's because I is. Oh man, there's just so many of them. Oh, I am not looking forward to this. But hopefully it will be a painless procedure. Now, I've actually never done a painless wiring harness. On the Karmann Ghia that we put a Subaru motor into, I used basically the factory harness to run everything but the motor, and then I used a shortened Subaru harness that I sent off to a guy, and he modified it and used that to run the motor. This is completely different for me. So I have all bits of fun and doodads. Got a relay kit for the fan. We've got some battery cables that I've already installed. I'll show you what they look like. This is some of my leftovers from it. We're running, what is it called? 2 gauge, 2 AGW. I don't know. I'm not a lineman. I don't work for the county. What else we got? Man, there's one cool thing I've noticed about this kit from Painless. They come with like everything. Look at this. This is the boot that would go on the back of the alternator right here. On that lug, on that terminal. That boot, they gave it to me. Sweet, man, if you look in here, there's just so many doodads and bags and toys and goodies. This whole big mamma jamma still scares me. I haven't even undone the different wire ties that hold it together to see what goes where. But I'm getting close, and I wanted to just show you guys some of the electrical going on. Yeah, not excited. So if you come over to the car, I've already rumped battery cables. This is my split loom stuff that I really like. I was smart enough to put red heat shrink on the red and black on the black. So the next dingus that works on this doesn't put it in backwards. I've also temporarily mounted my starter solenoid right here. I've got a cool stainless steel ground strap down inside here that mounts to the frame. And yeah, we're getting close, at least to crank it. I just want to get the starter wire hooked up. One last look at this before I start tearing it open, and we'll see what we got. Man, taking off all of these bread ties is like, you know, you're going in for your favorite loaf of bread to make your favorite peanut butter and jelly sandwich, and it's not a sandwich, it's a freaking nightmare loom of wires. Oh man, I am just still in shock at this undertaking. I'm sure it's not going to be that bad, but thankfully it's a Shelby Cobra Kit car that doesn't have a million extra accessories and whatnot. But boy, this can easily get out of hand, I think. There we go. Look, she's starting to open up. Look at that. Now in the instructions it says you got a front loom and a back loom and a middle loom and a lower middle loom and
an upper middle front butt.
Oh, I hope you don't got that.
A back lower butt, an upper middle front butt, a middle mid upper back butt. That's pretty stupid.
Yeah, just a little. But, yeah, lots of twist ties, guys. I think I'm gonna kind of break it into a spot where I can find the wires that go to the alternator. Their instructions, man, they're highly detailed, and they're like nice. Like a lot of them have like color picture. Okay, all these ones are black and white, of course. A lot of them have colored pictures, and it breaks it down for every single style of like headlight switch for Chrysler, Ford, Mopar, you name it. What I haven't been able to find in the instructions is how the crap do you connect this to the alternator lug. Now it explains that there's a MIDI fuse, and I'm like, MIDI? Like, what are we doing? Like,
that's right next to the mid front butt.
The mid front butt, yeah. MIDI, I'm like, why are we talking about like synthesizers and crap? Like, I don't get what you're saying. Just give it to me straight. This guy right here is basically where you're gonna pull most of your power from, and it comes with the MIDI fuse. I've never heard it called that before. But yeah, I don't know. Butt, front butt. We'll check back in once I start to unravel this a little more. Okay, my hood rat, thanks. I got some more stuff going on with the wires. Come down in here and I'll show you. So I've temporarily, possibly permanently placed the fuse box right there, and when our instrument panel goes in, it covers it down to about here, so I don't think you'll even see it when you're sitting in the car. I have got wires starting to be routed where they go to. This is all for instrument cluster and ignition and blah blah blah. This right here all goes to the back, and this bird's nest is going to be going up to the front. Yeah, this too. All of this. I bought this here firewall grommet from the Amazons and drilled a hole for it right there. Right down in there you can see my little pass-through hole. Yeah, I drilled through that fiberglass without vacuuming it, so my lungs are gonna love me. Yeah, I like where that is. It kind of hides the whole harness. It'll kind of tuck up under here. You won't see it as much. And now I just got to do the magic of pulling it through. Oh gee, this sure is gonna be fun. Not. Portion of the rear harness out of the way. It's getting in the way right now. Oh, my hands are so itchy.
What are you gonna do for it?
You'll see.
Cut one in half.
No, just keep going.
Am I supposed to pull this stuff
Yep,
out?
pull it all through. Start pulling.
Some of this is down here.
Sorry. Okay, I'm wrong. It didn't suck. Dad says it was fun.
It's cool. All right, I think we're ready. I'll put the serpentine belt in your glasses right there.
Up and underneath the Cobra, I got a problem. I can't put an oil filter on. Check this out. How in the heck am I supposed to do that? What we do have is we have two different oil filter adapters. I got one on the bench. Let's see if it'll work. Huh? Maybe. Maybe. Let's take it off and see. Oh, that'd work, right? No. Look at that. This filter's huge. No friggin' way. Maybe if I ran a filter off of a Honda Civic, but I got one more option. Let's see what this does. And the third little oil filter adapter was just right. There you go, guys. It is a remote oil filter adapter. So I have a couple of 1/2-inch MPTs to some 90-degree 1/2-inch barbs. And we are going to hook those up to some hoses and a remote oil filter. So let's get to it. Getting ready to weld this oil cooler in. Got this all prepped. Oh, something's wrong. That is the worst weld I've ever done. Have to grind that out and start over. Nothing a little bit of grinder and paint can't fix. There's our new bracket for the oil filter housing. And we've got this portion up in as well. So let's see if we can't get this working. And here you have it. There's the system. Not too shabby. We got the Wix 51515. That's the stock filter a Ford big block's supposed to run. That little white hose is the oil pressure gauge hose. It's not mounted where it's supposed to be yet, but I'm pretty impressed with myself. Not too bad. So now you can see these headers and how not good they are. Look, they stick out into the wheel well opening slightly. Where they're supposed to exit, it's like right down there. So this side's not any better. If you look at that, they also don't come out where they're supposed to. So this rig's going on a field trip. That's right. She's gonna go to the exhaust shop and I don't have to worry about all that crap. Woo! Oh, here comes the old man with the trailer. Okay guys, we are here at American Muffler in Caldwell, and we have got the Cobra ready to go.
And it's cold today.
Not really. Make sure you, it's kind of hard to see the, that's positive.
This is negative.
Yeah.
Turn on.
No, engage means that it is engaged.
It's not letting.
You have a good one.
Thank you.
Okay guys, we dropped it off. Our new buddy Al at American Muffler is gonna get us some exhaust connections made, and next time we see this thing we should be able to do a dry fire on that and get it broken in. So peace out. What, are you looking for fishes?
Yeah, I'm hungry.
Oh, let's get out of here.
Yeah, I didn't see no cats, so